listing your home with a program that is actually going to save you a ton of money, you're still going to want to pay the buyer's agent, which typically here in Florida, it's 3%. I'm watching it go down to 2.5%. And in some counties, like in Tampa, it's actually 2%, right? So you can set your commission structure, but these are just the 10 steps that we're going to go over today. Part of selling your home is making sure that you have a right team full of people. The first and foremost step that you're absolutely going to do, it's where are you going? What are you doing? You have to have this plan in place because the market that we were in 2021, 2022, we would put a property on the market and we had multiple offers within 24 hours. And sometimes people, they just didn't know where they were going to go, what they're going to do. You can do a lease back, but it's not really the best thing to actually do.
Not the best option unless it's, you have to go with that option.
Yeah. But in multiple offers, people were giving lease backs for free. So it wasn't that hard. It's just that when
you have to have a plan in mind.
Yes. Yeah. And if you do a lease back, you always run the risk of having to evict someone. But if you're working with a good agent, they're going to make sure that you have a great post occupancy to make sure that that doesn't happen.
So the second step is you want to make sure to clean the inside of your home and the outside of your home. For the inside of the home, just make sure to declutter everything in your house. So for example, if you have boxes laying around because you're going to move because you want to sell, please put them in a specific part of your house, like in a garage. Don't leave a mess. So if someone's coming into your home to look at it, you want to make it look presentable. You also want to make sure your home smells good. So if if you have candles, light your candles, make sure to have plugins in every area of the home. It just makes it feel good and smell good. And it'll make someone that wants to buy your house want to live in there. So that's very important. Declutter and make it smell good.
Yeah, as big as possible. I actually had to have a client move a dresser out of out of the master bedroom because it was clogging it up, and they just couldn't visualize themselves and see the true size of the room. So I think that's a big one.
Yeah, less is more. So
step 3, which is the biggest one that there is on this entire list, you have 4 points to home. You have your roof, you have your electrical, you have your plumbing, and you have your HVAC. When I list a home, I have all these contractors. They come out, they either take a look at it. The electrical and the plumbing are kind of hard to know. I know what to look for personally, but you can always jump on YouTube and see what the pipes that you're not supposed to have in your home. But for the HVAC, it's a very big thing. Every homeowner or buyer that walks through the home, they're actually going to look at your HVAC system. I have my guy for $250. He comes in, he paints it, he does the servicing, he makes sure that there's no mold and puts a brand new filter in there, and we pass the inspection with flying colors. The roof, you're going to know about the roof. If there is a leak, you have to fix that leak before anyone sees it. And another big thing that I see that is very unfortunate that just a lot of people don't know, do not paint the ceiling. Do not paint a small part of it because we are going to find it. We're going to look at it. We know, obvious. And that's a red flag for us. And we're automatically going to take a look at it. One of the other things that I do for a roof is you take your cell phone flashlight and you're going to walk around each corner of the house and you're going to see just a little yellow of tint. And that is going to be a small leak. Yeah.
And that's just band-aiding it anyways. You don't want to just band-aid your problems, because then when someone is interested in buying and putting in an offer, it's just going to come up in an inspection and it's going to end up causing an issue, and it could have them walk away from the contract.
The roof inspector is going to take he has 2 devices, but I like the 2-prong one. He's going to actually stab it in the drywall and it's going to tell you if there's any moisture in it or there isn't. So you can buy these online and do it yourself as well.
Amazon.
And let you know. Right.
And we can point you in that direction as well too.
I always tell my buyers when we're walking through homes, hey, don't stress because your home is going to pick you. Your home.
True.
That home is going to pick you. You're not going to pick that home. It's going to just feel right. You're going to like it. You're going to visualize yourself in it. And
not everyone's home is for them. So another thing we want to go over is you don't have to share all of your personal details on why you're selling your house. So for example, if you are getting a divorce, unfortunately it happens, you don't need to tell them that. More times than not. And it's sad and unfortunate, but you don't need to tell potential buyers that you're getting a divorce. Keep that information to yourself. You don't need to let them know that you need to move because you're buying a new house and you have to close this one before you can buy the other one. Do not share that information.
Right. Yeah.
But what you can say is, oh, I'm downsizing. My kids are in college. Or I'm growing my family. I need a bigger home. You can say certain things like that. And don't be impersonable. You can still have a relationship with the potential buyers because that's very important. Build your relationship with them and you can get a little personal, but not too personal.
Right. So the reason why it's super important to not disclose these things is because a realtor is going to hold it against you. And let me go more in depth with that. If I know that you're getting a divorce, if I know that you are moving because you have accepted a job offer, I know that I have the upper hand here, and I know that I can either press you for more money on the inspection, or I know that if you don't pass appraisal, I don't have to bring money to the table or have my buyers bring money to the table because I know that you have to sell. You have somewhere to go to next. And so you've kind of shot yourself in the foot and people don't even realize it. So less is more. Do not tell people certain things. It's just part of what we do.
Yeah. Another thing we want to go over is don't be aggressive. Like Liz said earlier, is the right buyer is going to buy your house. So you don't have to be aggressive or be pushy. Nobody wants to be walking into a home and thinking that they're at a used car sales lot. That's annoying.
Yeah.
You know, so when they're looking at your house, like we talked about earlier, you also want to give them space. Let them look at the property and say, oh, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, feel free to look at the home. I'll be in the kitchen. And whenever you guys are done, you can come to me and ask me any questions you may have in regards to the property.
Right.
Done
exactly.
and done. You don't need to go and breathe down their neck or open up the closets for them. I'm sure they're perfectly capable of opening up the closet doors or cabinets, etc. So just be mindful of that and just give them space.
Yeah, everyone's going to have a seller's disclosure. It comes with every property. It doesn't matter what state you're in. You're going to have to go through it here in Florida. It's 4 pages. Answer that honestly. Let them know. And because there are certain things that we're going to find out anyways. If you made an insurance claim, we're going to find that out when we go to get our own insurance. So make sure that you are honest on that end because it is going to be, found. When you go and as a realtor, when we go in and we do what is called a listing presentation, there are certain documents that we bring to you that you actually legally have to sign. Now, if you've been following us and you know about our program, if you use our attorney and also title company, her name is Erica, she's going to help you with this. Plus in Florida, we're going to give you the right documents. Also visit our website at toprealestatesecrets.com. If you're in another state, we're actually going to give you the resources that you need and the documents in place that you need for your state as well.
And where to find them.
Right. So here in Florida, Adriana, I'll let you go over the documents you need.
So here in Florida, you want to make sure to have everything ready to go because when someone wants to make an offer, it's best to have everything at hand so you're not scrambling around trying to find what you're going to need. And that's going to only delay your time in getting the property closed. So you want to make sure you have all of your HOA documents. So if you have an HOA, make sure to have your HOA documents ready to go. So a lot of times it'll have their property management information in there and the contact email and a phone number.
Yeah.
If you have an issue finding that, we can easily pull that up.
Right. Yeah. When you bought the home, you probably got your documents and immediately the HOA is going to contact you. There's this thing that the title company orders. It's called an estoppel letter. And basically what it is it tells you if the past owner has any violations or expired permits on the property. And then also, how much it's going to cost. It's a 2-page document here in Florida. Basically what it is, and I actually learned this in one of the continuing education classes that I took. If you do not provide this document at the time of accepting a contract, a buyer can actually walk away because the way it works is, let's say you told me that your property was only $250 a month for an HOA. And then I find out later as we're closing that it was really 400. Well, that's a big thing. And so a buyer can legally walk away. It's going to take some time. It's going to go to the courts, but a buyer can legally walk away if this document is not presented at the time of and accepted during contract. So one of the things that we do is we sit down at our listing presentation. We have all these documents. Now, personally, everything is electronic, but I'm pretty old school. I like for them to have everything in their hands. So then when I refer back to those documents, I just say, hey, look at that file folder. The HOA is going to be in there. Also your seller's disclosures. And then I'm going to expect for you to have your HOA documents PDF style, because let's say that a new buyer comes in and they are looking at your property and they want to add a fence. Those HOA documents are going to have the rules and regulations on it. And I'm not going to go through all of those. You probably already have because it's your property, but I just give it to the other side and then it's their job to kind of go through everything.
Yeah.
Now, if it's a luxury market, I'm going to know that property up, down, sideways, left and right, because that's just a different realm. It's a different beast all in itself, because these homes, they have certain setbacks. If it's on the lake, they're going to have certain things as well.
Just to recap, we just went over the seller's disclosures and the HOA docs.
Yeah. Now, if you decide to list with an agent, there are these documents that every broker has that is very different. Our broker has certain things like, hey, are you going to have a home warranty? If not, you need to sign here and decline it. It's just a legal thing. They want to make sure that you're prepped for everything, and the broker actually told you, and then you can actually go back and
say yes or no.
And part of those documents is this document called the wire fraud, and it is huge out there right now. You got to be really careful.
You have to be careful because there's been a lot of victims. Actually, 2 of our old clients have been a victim of wire fraud.
Yes. And as a for sale by owner, please be very careful. If you hire the right team and the title company, they're going to prep you on everything. There's security programs in place where you actually log in on your computer. You're going to have a code. Then you actually call them to verify the code. And then you can go to your bank and you can wire the funds. Also, you never answer the phone and they're very good out there. They're going to say, hey, this is so-and-so. They're going to have my information because my information is public. They're going to say, hey, I see Liz asked me to give you a call and you need to go ahead and wire these extra funds here. And it's not true. So I always tell my clients, hey, if you get a call like that, call me immediately. One of the things that I do as well in my business is when we go under contract, I'm going to give you a full list of all of the contacts. And these are the only people that you speak to, period.
And what I usually do sometimes is take it a step further and say, go ahead and save the title numbers in your phone. So you know that if they're going to call you, it's going to come from that title company, not a title agent will not call you from their cell phone. That's not going to happen. They're going to call from the office to verify any information so that you're aware of the phone number, because some of these guys are so tricky that if they see an area code of the area code where the property is, they will go ahead and find a phone number that matches that area code to try to spoof the person into thinking that they're from the same town. So just be aware of that.
So when buyers or sellers, when they're selling a home, do you believe in any like feng shui, or is there anything that they could do to help them, have really good energy in the home? Because I always tell my buyers that when we walk into a home, your home is going to pick you. You do not pick your home. It just feels right. You know this is the one, and we go from there. Do you have anything to say about that?
Well, I love feng shui for fun. Now, it's not something that I would kind of hang everything on. For example, if I fell in love with a house and then I looked to see what direction it's facing or where the front door is vis-a-vis, the directions, I'm not going to panic and say, I can't buy that house. But that's just because of my approach. I think it's great fun when you can practice feng shui principles within your house, like with the furniture or placement of objects or clearing clutter. So I think it's fun, and it's all about the energy that's created when you walk into a space, and that can be just, decorating. It doesn't have to be feng shui. But I think I think that if you let feng shui kind of determine the direction, whether you're going to buy a house or whatever based on the direction, now you're kind of giving up your sense of agency and control and kind of putting it into feng shui. And for me, I feel like that's like coming from a place of powerlessness. However, I love feng shui. I do, but I wouldn't take it to the extreme of the actual structure of the house is facing the wrong direction. I mean, that's a little too much. You can't do much about that.
It's funny because I actually get that a lot. They wanted to make sure that it's facing east, the door. And then I've heard make sure that the master bedroom, the headboard is not facing north, because apparently that's where they used to bury the dead, north, and their head. And so I never knew some of these things. So I thought it was very interesting.
Well, I mean, with the headboard, with the placement of the bed, I mean, there is some control that you can have over that. But even a good example of fun feng shui is the dining room. You know how most dining rooms, you'll see a nice big mirror over the dining table. That's actually feng shui. That's the concept that you are doubling your abundance. You're doubling your food. You're doubling your friendships and laughter and family, and, by having the mirror, and I think that really does feel good, especially if you've got candles going and now you see the reflection in the mirror. That's an example of feng shui that I think is healthy and fun. But the front door, there are always good aspects about any direction, West has some really great, ideas too in feng shui, if your front is facing west. But I don't know. I never focused on the directions because it's really hard, especially if you just know you love a house and if you feel good in it. That's the best indicator you can have. And it has nothing to do with feng shui. It's just...
Another one that I get is when we go into the primary or the master bedroom, they will bring out their compass and don't want their headboard to face north. Have you heard of that one?
I think it's kind of like a superstitious thing, but also like everyone is on their own journey, right? It's not like, oh, every single buyer is going to be the same, just like how every single house is not going to be the same. And everyone has their own filters that they're coming to this entire life with and to this buying experience with. And so you want to keep that in mind. And so what they say is that when in the cemeteries, they bury the bodies with the heads facing north or something like that. And so that's why they're like, what is the headboard in the bedroom doing? Because they really want to just make sure that everything is in alignment for them. And if you can do anything in your power to ease them, to make them feel more safe, more comfortable, they're going to have a lot more higher of a chance in purchasing the home with you, as opposed to another place that has a bunch of clutter and the headboard is facing the direction that they don't like and all that type of stuff.
Another one is when you go into a home, I think it's super important. Not only does it smell good, but also playing music. And also the colors that they choose. Do you have any knowledge? I know you have some knowledge on what are the best colors to actually bring out the best moods in people?
I see a lot of blues in homes, but honestly, I think that like oranges and yellows are the happiest colors. And so I kind of want to just go back to like the less is more factor. You don't want to just put like a bunch of yellow everywhere just for like shits and gigs. You really want to be intentional about like the energy that you're setting it with. And the colors do matter, like make the colors match. Don't just put a bunch of random colors. Just be very intentional with how you're setting it up. But yellow and orange are the happiest colors. And then I love what you said about the music. And we were having a conversation earlier. Liz was talking about like, if there's a fireplace, I'll set the fireplace up. I just think that's so special. It's like you're adding that finishing touch. And I know that whenever I've been into open houses, they have candles lit. It's like they're setting the mood. You're really setting that ambiance for the buyer to be like, okay, I could really picture something really beautiful here. And that's also kind of feeding into like that subconscious awareness that they have when they come into the home. They're like, it smells good in here. Ooh, this is nice, sweet jazz music. Like I already feel good, right? You want them to come in feeling good. You want them to say, wow. And then you want them to leave saying like, I liked that one. That one's on my list of the ones that I really, really liked. Because they're not just looking at your home. They're looking at several homes, right? And so you want them to make the best decision for them. And you want to make it as easy as possible to make that decision for them to be your house.
It is true. So fun fact, I actually work with a girl out of Texas who provides me triple scented candles to burn in my homes.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. And super important because when they walk in, they just smell it. It looks good and it sells faster.
Awesome. Yeah. And so like take that down as a note too, because Liz has been doing this forever. Like she's literally the best when it comes to this type of thing. And it's like, if she's using the candles, why not you use the candles? Like do whatever you can, but also don't do it like too overpowering. Don't put like 10 candles. Just put like one candle downstairs, one candle upstairs. Less is more, but like start to really get into the vibe and be like, what would it like, give your own house a walkthrough. Give your own house a walkthrough. What do you see? What do you smell? What do you feel? And try to put on that like clear lens, because they're going to come into it with their own lens and you might be like, this feels great. This looks fine. But like really try to take a step back and come into the house with a fresh pair of eyes and ears and a fresh nose so that you can understand what their perspective is going to be when they walk into your home.
Very true. Very true. So another one I always get, which is never has happened to me, but it has happened to some of my colleagues. And in Florida, you legally don't have to say when someone has passed in the house. But I've walked in homes before and you could just feel the energy and it's so dark and deep. And do you have advice on what someone could do to kind of make that feeling go away if they're going to sell it?
Yeah, I think that like, for me personally, I feel like it's really important to be authentic. So you don't have to say it, of course, but if somebody asks you, did somebody die here? And they did, don't lie, because that is just conflicting energy right off the bat. And it's not good karma, honestly, right? But if you're like, okay, somebody died here, I really want to do whatever I can to make sure that this space feels safe and clean and clear. Like you can do something as simple as just saying a prayer for the spirit to have passed on to where it's supposed to go, right? Or you can take like sage and you can smudge the home if that feels aligned for you. You can invite a priest into the home, like whatever is going to resonate with you and your own spirit. That's what I suggest doing, because what you want is this space to be really clean and clear for the people that are coming in. And if you're selling the home, I feel like it should be your responsibility to do whatever you can to just make sure that it's very safe for everybody. Not everybody's going to care about that type of thing. Certain people will care more than others. Even if you've smudged the home and had a priest come in or whatever, other people are going to be like, nope, somebody died here. I refuse. I will still not live here. But you're going to find the right person. And I think that by like getting yourself into a position where you know that you're doing the best that you can and that you're being authentic with yourself around it is going to be like the best bet.
I like that advice. So let's go back to the decluttering. Do you have any advice that you could give to our listeners on how they can emotionally get rid of things? Because I know coming in real estate, that is a huge thing that I have to say, hey, I know it's really hard to let go, but we need to let it go so we can declutter it and it looks better so I can get you more money for your property.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that starting step by step, when you think about decluttering your entire home, you're like, oh my gosh, I have this whole house to declutter. And then you can kind of get stuck in inaction and freeze and not get anything done, right? So first I would take a step back and be like, I'm going to start room by room. Just do one room at a time and take out all the things that I no longer need, miscellaneous items, personal items, and sentimental things. That's a really big one. A really, really big one. It's hard to get rid of things that you have like all this emotional attachment to. So it can be really helpful to like hire somebody to help you organize, or somebody who's a professional at decluttering, because they have like that non-biased opinion and they'll be able to help you get rid of things too. There's also a really good book by Marie Kondo. I think it's called The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. Something really awesome that you can look into if you want more information on how to declutter your home. It's just going to be really good for you all around. In releasing like the physical clutter. And then mentally and emotionally, you're selling this house. You're not staying here. Okay. You're not keeping this exact home with this exact energy. You're definitely going to have a fresh start, a new home, and something different. So just get really clear on that. And don't keep trying to go back to like holding on to all the old things that happened in this home. We're moving for a reason. We're selling this home for a reason. So just stay grounded in that. We have new beginnings coming. We've got new things coming. And I know a lot of people will move and they'll be like, oh, perfect. I'm going to move and I'm going to get me a new bed or something like that. Right. And so it's like, if you have things like that you're looking forward to, ground into that vision, because then you're not going to be like, oh, well, should I get rid of these pillows? I don't know. And then you're stuck in this like energy of, I don't know what to declutter, as opposed to being like, no, I know we've got this new vision and we're decluttering, we're selling the home, and we're just going to be really clear about that.
I love that.